So, take a quick second and just look around the room you're sitting in right now. I mean, really look. The device you're watching this on, the clothes you're wearing, maybe that coffee mug sitting on your desk, chances are those everyday items were manufactured all over the planet. But have you ever stopped to wonder exactly why? Well, to uncover this historical mystery, we're going to use this explainer to dig into the intellectual foundations of global trade economics. We're going to trace the incredible, entirely invisible journey those items took just to get to you. Right, let's dive into this massive question. It's one economists have literally been trying to solve for centuries. Why do nations exchange goods? Like, what are the actual underlying forces driving products across oceans and borders? It's a completely fascinating puzzle, and today we're going to piece together the nuts and bolts of global exchange using the exact theories that quite literally shaped the modern world. Section 1. Why nations exchange goods. The evolution of trade thought. Now, to really grasp modern global markets, you have to realize that no single economist just figured this all out overnight. These international trade theories act more like building blocks. We're looking at a roadmap starting in the 18th century with Adam Smith, evolving through the 19th with David Ricardo and John Stuart Mill, and finally pushing into the 20th century with Haberler and the Heckscher-Ohlin framework. Each era essentially passes the baton, solving the blind spots of the guy who came right before them. Section 2. The Basics of Advantage, Smith and Ricardo. We have to kick things off with the fundamental logic of efficiency, establishing exactly why countries bother trading in the first place. And Adam Smith's initial solution was honestly just simple and elegant. According to his theory of absolute advantage, countries benefit by specializing in the goods they produce more efficiently than anyone else. Basically, a nation wins by making and trading the specific things it is absolutely the best at producing. So think of it this way. If Brazil has the absolute best climate for growing coffee beans and Iceland has the best setup for catching cod, Brazil focuses on coffee, Iceland on fish, and boom, they trade. It's pretty straightforward logic, right? If you're the fastest and cheapest at making a specific good, focus all your energy right there. But wait, what if a country is just, well, worse at producing absolutely everything? It's a massive dilemma for Smith's original framework. If a nation is at a total disadvantage across the board, are they just completely shut out of global trade? Like, are less efficient nations just entirely out of luck? This is exactly where David Ricardo steps in with a crucial refinement. While Smith was all about maximum absolute efficiency, Ricardo introduces comparative advantage. And he proves something amazing. Even a nation disadvantaged in producing everything can still absolutely gain from trade. How? By focusing on what he called relatively less inefficient production. It's like, imagine a brilliant lawyer who also happens to be the fastest typist in town. Even though she has an absolute advantage in typing, it still makes way more sense for her to hire an assistant. That way, she can spend her valuable hours doing lucrative legal work. Ricardo proved this exact same logic applies to nations. You don't have to be the absolute best at something, you just need to find the thing you are the least bad at making, specialize in that, and trade. It was a total game changer. Section 3. Realities, cost and demand, adding the real world. So as time went on, economists realized pure theoretical efficiency just wasn't cutting it. They needed to introduce more complex variables to explain what was actually happening globally. Enter Haberler and his opportunity cost theory. This shifts the whole economic lens away from just looking at pure labor costs and introduces opportunity costs, which makes the whole analysis so much more realistic. In simple terms, if a factory spends all day making smartphones, the cost isn't just the glass and the labor, it's the laptops they didn't have time to build. Trade is really about what you sacrifice. When countries trade, they're actively looking to minimize those lost opportunities. Then John Stuart Mill adds another absolutely crucial piece to the puzzle with reciprocal demand theory. Mill points out that efficiency and production costs aren't the only things dictating trade, right? He adds demand elasticity into the equation, basically asking how sensitive are buyers to changes in price, because that determines the actual terms of trade between nations. It's not just about what you make, but how badly the other country actually wants it. If everybody desperately wants the new tech gadget you're producing and they will pay anything for it, well, you hold all the cards. The terms of trade shift right in your favor. Consumer demand actively shapes the final exchange. Section 4. The capital and labor divide, the modern paradigm. This evolution brings us to a major shift in how we view global exchange. We're moving away from abstract math and looking directly at physical reality. In the 20th century, Heckscher and Ohlin completely changed the game with their factor endowment theory. They argued that a country's trade power comes directly from its endowments, its actual national resources. What has nature or history actually given a nation? Do they have massive multi-billion-dollar factory infrastructure? Or do they have a huge, abundant population of manual workers? And here is the core of it. A nation naturally exports whatever utilizes its most abundant resource. A capital-abundant nation naturally exports capital-intensive goods. Take Germany, for example. They naturally export highly engineered automobiles because they actually have the advanced factories and infrastructure to pull it off. On the flip side, a labor-abundant nation naturally exports labor-intensive goods. A country like Bangladesh naturally excels at exporting textiles because they are capitalizing on a massive workforce. It's an incredibly pragmatic, resource-driven view that perfectly explains huge portions of modern manufacturing. Section 5. The Global Trade Foundation, the Big Picture. As we zoom out from these individual historical milestones, we can finally see how all these disparate ideas just snap together. Ultimately, there is no single magical equation to explain why nations exchange goods. Each theory refines the blind spots of the one before it. And sure, while they all have their own unique assumptions and specific historical criticisms, together, as a collective body of work, they completely form the intellectual bedrock of modern trade economics. From absolute efficiency down to relative opportunity costs, and finally to natural resource endowments, every single piece of this puzzle is absolutely necessary to see the full picture of global commerce. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Take one more look at the tags on your belongings. Look at where your device was assembled or where that shirt was sewn. The next time you pick up a product, ask yourself, which of these historical theories perfectly explains the invisible journey it took to get into your hands? Was it absolute advantage, or was it an abundance of labor? The answers are quite literally woven directly into the fabric of our everyday lives. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating mechanics of the world around you.